Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Deconstructed. Now, if you're thinking I'm looking a bit rough, that's because this puzzle, frankly, has defeated me. This is the fourth time I'm trying to record this puzzle, so there's been 3 previous failed attempts, each that's in excess of an hour. And in the end, I ended up emailing the constructor, gUBBLOR, just to say I seem to be consistently breaking this cell. Can you take a look at how far I've gotten? Am I misunderstanding the rules? And the answer was no. I am not misunderstanding the rules. I'm not solving it very well. So, as they say, fourth time lucky. And hopefully we're going to be able to solve this particular puzzle now so I can move on with my life. Anything else to mention before I walk you through these rules? Nope. Let's take a look at what has gUBBLOR gifted the world here. Now, you know that gUBBLOR has consistently made sure that we use equality cages with some new variant. And the new variant here that he's fused us with is deconstruction. So if you've never come across deconstruction puzzles before, and I haven't, this is about placing 9 non-overlapping 3x3 boxes in the grid. And then obviously, once these boxes are in place, we can use standard Sudoku and place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, column, or box. Now, what does all of that mean? We have an 11 by 11 grid. I need to identify, kind of like 9 locations where I could fit a 3x3 box. Nothing wrong with them touching, by the way, so this is totally fine. And as you can see, they don't exactly have to overlap in columns. And I could have a totally empty row. All of that is fine under today's rules. The important thing is that I have 9 non-overlapping boxes. So the second I try and do something as such, and call this green, I've broken the puzzle. However, if they are exactly touching, that's absolutely fine. Now, once you've identified where all of these boxes are, you have to place the digits 1 to 9, once each in every box, every column, and every row without repeats. And in some cases, as is the case here, you're obviously going to have only 6 of them. So you have to find 6 unique digits from the digits 1 to 9. Okay, right. Let's talk about the non-region cells. Any of the cells that cannot belong to a region, so none of these can, well, they are basically empty. But for clue purposes, they have to have a number that's equal to the row or column number. So this is a non-region. So it's either in column 1 or row 10. Can't place row 10 because it does explicitly say it's either equal to the row number or column number up to 9. So this one would have to be a 1. And of course, you know the rest of this about black crop dots, so we'll come back to those in a second. Now, there is something in here. Yeah, it does say at the end, so I'll come back to that later. Let's now talk about equality cages. So cages must have an equal number of low digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, high digits, 6, 7, 8, 9. Must also have an equal number of even digits, such as 2, 4, and odd digits, such as 7, 9. So that's a valid pencil mark for equality cages. Equality cages can never contain 5, and digits invisible or not may not repeat in a cage. I think I skipped something. Yeah, invisible digits may repeat in rows and columns. So having a 1 here, a 1 there, that's all going to be fine, by the way. When it comes to the non-regions, you can repeat them to your heart's content, except when they're inside equality cages. So these 2 cells, for example, cannot repeat because they're still part of this equality cage. Okay, so let's move on. Crop dots, of course, a black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2 to 1 ratio. A white dot between cells indicates cells with consecutive values, and not all dots are shown. So a 1 in here means that this has to be in a 2 to 1 ratio. That can only be 2. Nothing stops me from repeating, mind you. So this could actually go back to 1. That would be valid. And I'm deliberately going to go back to 1 here, but of course it could also be 4 as long as it's one cell is double the other. Now, it explicitly says that, oh, and white dots, of course, I should mention that. So if this cell is 2, This would have to be 1 or 3 for it to be consecutive. Now, nothing wrong with having something like a 3 without a white dot, a 4 without a black dot. All of that is allowed under today's rules. No negative constraints apply, although clearly I have broken Sudoku there. Right, x's and v's, so cells connected by an x must sum up to 10. If this is a 4, this would have to be a 6 to add up to 10. If this is a 2, this would have to be a 3 to make sure it does add up to 5. And again, no negative constraints apply. So that 2 and 3, forgetting the fact I'm repeating it, is fine. That, I don't know, 1 and 9, so 10, 5, all of that is allowed under today's rules. Because you don't have to have the x's and v's visible. Right, last thing to mention, for the solution check to work, all non-region cells need to be empty. So once we've actually solved all of these boxes, basically have to clear all the non-regions to double check that we are correct. So, as always, to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to just say good luck to you, good luck to me. Now, there's a few things we can do that just leap off the page to me. Well, one that definitely leapt off the page, one that took me a few minutes to kind of deduce, but let me point to you the things that are fairly obvious. If you played enough equality cages, you know that whenever you have a black Kropki dot inside a 2-cell cage, it has to be 3-6. If you think about the black dot Kropki pairs, you've got 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, and 4, 8. Now, equality cages is saying one of them has to be low, one of them has to be high. 1 and 2, 2 and 4 immediately do not qualify. Now, it also says one of them has to be even and one of them has to be odd. So the 3, 6 does, 4, 8, they're both even. So that doesn't work. So whenever you find an equality cage with a black Kropki dot inside it, there is always a 3, 6 pair. Right. We clearly know that some of these are non-regions because we're not going to end up with three 6s in column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in here. This is still another 3, 6. And then because this is 10, this is either 3 going to 7 or it's 6 going to 4. Yeah, here's where it starts to get tricky with non-regions. What am I going to do first? I'll walk you through why this could be a 5. Normally, whenever you come across an x, you can't have a double 5 to get to 10. But in today's puzzle, you can. Because in essence, I could say this is not a region, and this is another, I don't know, this group here is a region, and I'll be totally fine. The 5 counts towards the clue, but it doesn't count as the repeat. So you can't ignore 5s on x's. You can ignore them on v's because we're not allowed to have zeros, but you can't ignore them on x's. So the 4 can actually go down to a 5, could also go down to a 3. The 7 can go to a 6 or an 8. So that's all of the possibilities according to this white Kropki dot. Now to get to 10, I mean, I can see how it's not going to work with the v in some cases, but 3 would be 7, 5 would be 5, 6 would be 4, and 8 would be 2. Now we know that these two have to be 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to 5. So either a 1, 4 pair or a 2, 3 pair. But I can't get to 7. So no 7, no 3. The 2, I actually can't get to 2 here because, yeah, I don't have a 3 option or a 1 option. So no 2, no 3. And that group of clues is fully pencil marked. So first time round, one more thing I can do, and then you really do need to start thinking about the deconstruction quite a bit. Right, last equality cage here, where if you think about it, and I'm going to actually reintroduce the pairs one more time. The nature of 10 is that you're always pairing up cells that are the same parity. and one of them is low, one of them is high. So essentially, this is either going to be 2 odds or 2 even digits. Black crop queue dots, because you're multiplying by 2 effectively, always have to have at least 1 even digit, and in many cases, 2 even digits. So the only way this is work, given this is going to be either 2 evens or 2 odds, is that it is 2 odds, and this is 2 evens. I also know that one of them is going to be low, one of them is going to be high, so this has to have one of them is going to be low, one of them is going to be high. So it's got to be 4, 8, and this has to be from either 1, 9 or 3, 7. And we can clear all of these cells. And then because this is odd, this is even to be connected. And now we're really going to have to talk about deconstruction. So far, we've been playing for 5 minutes and basically got 0 digits. Now, the way that, I think it's actually quite helpful to do this, in my opinion. Remember, a non-region cell is equal to either the row or the column for the purpose of the clues. So essentially, all of these cells could be 1 because they're in row 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to try and avoid clues we already have. 5, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s. We can't go to 10 or 11. It says up to 9. Now, obviously, it's not just the rows. It could also be the columns. All of these could be 1s. All of these could be 2s. I'm actually going to do something just to make sure I don't touch my pencil marks. Yeah, they look correct to me. 3s. Actually, excuse me, they can go all the way here, 2, 3. 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, and then again I can't do 10 or 11. Right, here is where it starts to get interesting. Remember, when there is a non-region that isn't part of a clue, like these pencil marks frankly don't matter. They only matter when it is part of a clue. So essentially, even though I've just sort of pre-filled all of this grid with possible values for non-regions, anywhere where there isn't a clue, none of this frankly matters. So it's a bit of a waste of time kind of doing that, but I think it just means that I definitely get everything that could have a pencil mark with a non-region pencil marked. That looks correct to me. I'm just double checking. Yeah, every clue has a pencil mark. And now you get to start asking yourself some very interesting questions, such as 5s inside an inequality cage and a white crop dot as well. This is clearly a broken clue. This is definitely part of a region because I can't have 5s in here. The blue is probably a bad idea because I'm going to use blues to kind of identify regions in a second. So I'm just going to highlight these as I've pencil marked them so don't touch them. The 4s are problematic, especially because they're in columns 10 and 11. So this is the only valid pencil mark if they're not part of a region. So one of them has to be in a region. It doesn't have to, if this is a region, this is a region, because obviously the region would have to be a 3x3 block of some sort. So at least this cell is in a region. This black crop dot, well, if it's not in a region, it's row 10, column 10, this would be 10, which doesn't work. So this is definitely in a region, and therefore all of these have to be in a region. because again, it's a 3 by 3. It's just, I don't know where the 3 by 3 starts and ends, but if it's got the center in here, it at least extends 3 out and 3 up. Where else do we have a problem? I can obviously remove the 5s from equality cages. They don't work. We have a problem inside this equality cage. I'm just going to highlight a few in red because this is broken since they're all high digits, and actually this one can't be a 5. These are clearly broken because I've got 3 of them in the column. This equality cage is clearly broken because even if I use 1, 6, the rest of it are all low digits, and this white crop dot is definitely broken. This 2 and 2, 3 is broken. These 2 are broken. I'm just highlighting the ones we need to come back to. This isn't. I can have a 2 with an 8. I could have a 7 with an 8. I could have a 2 with a 1 or a 3. So these are not, they're actually fine. I could have a 1 with a 2. They are consecutive. Not if this is 6, but like it's fine actually. Actually, because if this is, no, hang on, not if it's 6, that's fine, but it can be a 7. So this could be a non-region, this could be a non-region, all of that is fine. Yeah. I think this one is problematic. So if it is not a region, it's 5. Which would require a non-region of 5, which this cannot be. It is in row 4. So this is definitely in a region. So the items that we highlighted in gray, we should probably study whether they are part of a region or not. So this could be 1, this could be 2. This is definitely a region, isn't it? I removed the 2 according to the pencil marks, and it's row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So given this is not 2 and this is not 3, these 2 cells are definitely inside a region. Because this is not 3 or 6. This is not 2 or 6. This can be a non-region with 5. This could be a non-region with 4, because it's column 4. This could be a non-region with 6. All of these could be non-regions, and this could be a non-region. Interesting. Okay. This is column 9, and it's row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is definitely in a region. I'm going to start using different colors in a second because nothing says that. Anyway, well, I'll explain in a second. Let me just do this one. Column 10, column 10, rows, this is 5, 6, 7. This could be 7. This isn't 6 or 10. So this is definitely part of a region. Now this cell is column 11, row 7. This is definitely part of a region. Okay. And then we've got some, let me just reason through this. So I mean, they're clearly part of a region, some of them anyway, because the non-region cells don't work. They break the black Kropke dot rules. Now what I'm trying to evaluate is what's wrong with 3, 6. Right, here's a better way of thinking about this one. This cell has to be a region. If it's not a region, then both of these are not regions, and then I end up with a 1, a 2, going to a 2 and it's broken. So this is definitely a region. Now, at least one of these is a region. Actually, if this is a region, just again, the fact that they're 3x3s, these are definitely regions. And if they are regions, you can immediately just basically just delete the pencil marks. Just don't worry about them. Delete these two as well, because we know we're going to be writing something else in here. Right. Now, whatever these are, this is problematic. One of them, well, they can't all be regions. Let me do that first, because then I end up with 4 black crop key dot digits that are all connected to the center one. And that is going to be broken. There's no digit in Sudoku, non-complex digits, which will have a 2-to-1 ratio. Basically, 3 of them that are all unique. So, long story short, I can't have it as one big region. This cell has to have one more of these two because they're clearly like an oxymoron of digits, because this cell can never be in a 2-to-1 ratio with both 1 and 2. So one of them is going to be in, one of them is going to be out. And therefore this is not going to be a region. But then one of them is going to be in. We'll come back to what. And whichever one is not in is either going to be a 1 leading to a 2 or a 2 leading to, I mean, I'm thinking 4, but could it be 1? Let me just think this through. So if this is a non-region, sorry, if this is non-region, it's a 2. This would be a region. So it would end up looking something like that. In which case, yes, that's not a 1, but this is definitely a 2-4 because it's a run of 3. Okay. And of course, the opposite way, if this is part of the region, well, this is 1, this forces this to be a 2. So I don't think I can go back down to a 1. It's 2, 4. So it's either 2, 4, 8, or it's 1, 2, 4. There is always a 4 in here. Okay. I want to say we're getting somewhere, but like we're so far away, aren't we? Let's see, where do we go from here? So I mean, this cell here, which is the black crop key dot that sees the 4, 8 and a 4 in here, this could be 1, 2 or 3, 6. This could be 1, 2, it can't be 4. It could be 1, 2 with a 3, 6. Now the 1, 2, I feel like I should be able to eliminate a 2. So one option is this is the region, in which case this would be 2, forcing this to be 4, forcing this to be 8, and therefore this would be 2. This would be 2, 4, 8, meaning no 1, 2, if this is part of the region. Now the other option is this is part of the region, in which case this is 1, this is 2, this is 4. There is no 2, so this is not 1 or 2, this is 3, 6. Obviously, this is part of a region because the 8 is broken. And at least one of them has to be in a region, and it absolutely could be this cell. It has to be this cell. If this is a region because it will extend 3 out. So this is definitely in. Right, let's talk about colors for a second, because temptation would be to say, well, clearly this is all connected into one region and grow it out that way. I mean, it's going to grow out that way regardless, but that is not necessarily true. We need to start counting up our areas, in the sense that we can clearly see that we have 2 different areas in here. This is a block of 2 that cannot possibly be connected to this. This would create a block of 4. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. And you cannot fit, given 3 by 3 is 9, you cannot fit 4 in the same row or column. So essentially, I definitely have line of sight of 3 of them. Now, nothing stops this one from kind of growing that way, but it definitely has to grow this way. So all of these are part of this region. I'm actually going to color it differently so that this blue, this purple, and this blue are different. And these are not regions. There's no way that any region can reach it without stopping it from being a 3 by 3. And of course, I will remove the pencil marks because this is now part of a region. Now, these two, to be not in a region, that would be 8. This would have to be 7 or 9. So it can't be 9 because I already have it down here. So it'd have to be 7, 9. And then these two, to make this equality cage work, would have to be 2 and 4. It doesn't matter which one I pick, whether it's 3, well, I've got 3 odd digits, that's broken. If it's 6, it's 3 high digits, that's broken. I'm not going to be able to make it balance. So this is also part of the region, and we have our first one done. Again, the purple could grow either way. This blue can grow in many directions, up that way or here. And there's nothing that overlaps between them that can color. We know that red is a problem. I'm actually deliberately going to color this purple rather than blue, because purple can basically be all of these. And then I end up with a new region up here that's blue. But obviously purple can grow out that way. So these could also be part of purple. But this is absolutely part of a new one, because that's purple all the way down here. I'm not going to be able to reach 4 cells up. Now, the definition is this obviously has to be part of a region because it's a 3 by 3 block. This has to be part of a region. But hang on, so purple can go, so the minimum blue can go down, if this is purple, is all the way up here. But blue could go there, blue could go here, and this could be all part of purple. But I can't reach all the way up here. This is black. This is not part of a region. And I can't squeeze one in here and create a 2 by 2, for example. So we have line of sight of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 regions so far. We need 3 more. And we need to sort out, like there's definitely one around here sorting out this equality cage. There is almost certainly one around here sorting out this equality cage. And there's almost certainly one around here sorting out this equality cage. Okay. These still need to have some sort of region around them. And I only have 3 more left to spare, so to speak, to sort all of these out. Okay, progress. Because it's not in a region, I can remove the 6. We need to do something about these equality cages. And I need to remove these gray cells. Because the blue, again, it's different from this blue. I'm just going to deliberately, so I don't accidentally merge them. It really doesn't show that I've spent 3 hours on this, does it? Now remember, for these to be non-regions, they have to be sixes, which is fine. I can repeat the sixes in non-regions as many times as I want. But one of them, at least one of them, oh, I should have thought about this way earlier. Right, let me explain how I'm thinking about this. If they are not a region, they cannot be, hang on, there is a 3 in these three, and it cannot be a non-region with a 3. Hopefully that made sense, because this is row 6, columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So essentially, I have to have at least 1 3 in here, and whichever one is the 3, it is not a region. But if I make this a double 3, I have broken it, because both of them have to be non-region, and then I've repeated it in the row. So the only way that this would work is that the 3 is in the middle, and because it's a 3, it is not a region. And you can see it's clearly different now from purple. So even if I'm growing from here, and I can't actually grow from here, I'll explain why in a second, I have to grow at least this direction. So this is definitely part of it, and therefore this is a definite 6. Now, if this is part of any region, whether it's purple or blue, it would have to be a fully grown digit of 6 and then repeat. So this cannot be a region, and the blue has to grow out that way, and therefore I will remove these pencil marks, and the 6 dictates the rest. This is not a 7, it's a 4. The 4 can only be consecutive with the 5. This now has to be 5, this now has to be 4, and the purple, of course, has to grow out this way, because this is not a region. So this is now purple as well, as such. Now that I've removed all of these, actually, yeah, I'm going to fix these grays so we can actually see them. That is not at all what I wanted to do. And then there's a question mark about this one, which we'll come back to in a second. Not regions. Notice how the purple is now bound by this corner. So all of these are in part of purple. None of these are in purple. Blue can't grow out this way now. Has to grow out that way. This is all region. This is not region. And therefore this is definitely 1. This is definitely 2. This is definitely 4. That cannot be 4. And this is a delete. This can no longer be a 2. That's 1. Fantastic. Purple now has to grow out this way. Not a 4, is an 8, is a 4. Now, of course, I don't know why I said I'm going to come back to it. This cannot be a non-region, because this purple has to grow out at least 3 cells in that direction. This has to be purple as well. And then the question du jour is, where does purple and blue end and start? We're going to have to sort of come back to that momentarily. I can remove the 1 option and the 3. This is not 1 or 3. This is not 7 or 9. And therefore, this is not 6 or 8. This is 2 or 4. And then I have to have the digits 1 to 9 once each in row 6. So this cell is definitely not a region. It's 6 or 8, meaning this is 7 or 9, meaning this is a 2, this is a 4, and this is 1 or 3, and this is 7 or 9. Fantastic. Oh, the double 4 tells us the answer. This cannot be part of purple. This is part of blue. I can remove all of these pencil marks now. This is now not a region, and therefore this is a pencil mark of 2. This is 1 or 3. And this is purple. Now, temptation says, because remember, the equality cage is problematic. That's why I've highlighted it as red. And I need to include some of these inside a region. When I say some of them, at least 2, because we've got 4 cells that are all high. I need to replace at least 2 of them with low digits. However, too far away from this purple is complete, this blue is complete, this purple is complete. The only way that would reach it is any region without creating some kind of something that doesn't qualify, is to include it as part of blue. So these cells are all blue. These are gone. This cell is, and in fact all of these are all now non-regions, and this is definitely an 8 for clue purposes. Okay, we still need 2 more up here. I mean, one of these is in a region. If this cell is, this cell is. So this is definitely inside a region. This is like question mark. If this is in a region, it has to grow out that way. The 6 in here tells me that at least one of them is not a region. We knew that from the start, if this is 3, 6. But I know that there has to be a region in here somewhere. One of these has to be in a region because the pencil marks don't allow me to complete an equality cage correctly. Now, is there a way for me to include these without including the 3, 6? I think the answer is kind of. So essentially I can do something like that, but then where's the next region? Because I still need to have 9, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The other one would be here. So I think what I'm saying is that this has to be part of a region, and this cannot be, because that would be the 3, that would be the 6. And in fact, whichever one is a 3, I keep forgetting, oh no, this could be a 3, this could be a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so both of them could be non-regions. Other than the fact that I don't seem to be able to fit it, but I need to do some work to kind of earn that. Now, this 2 or 3 would disappear. So this is not 1, 2, or 4 in the columns. This is a 3, 7 pair. We know that for certain. This equality cage, which has no low digits other than 3, so this is 3 with a 6 or 8. Therefore, this is a definite 7. This is a definite 3. No 2, because 1 and 3 are not available. No 2. So the 2 is in one of these 2 cells. The rest of these are 6, 7, 8, 9, not very exciting. No 5. No 5 is a 5. 6, 8, 9. This being a high digit inside this equality cage, these two have to be the same polarity because of the white crop dot. So this would be high, this would be low. This is 2 low digits. Now 2, 4, 3, 6 tells me the low digit has to be a 1. This has to be a 2. This is from 6, 7, 8, 9 because it needs to be a high digit to balance the equality cage. It's not a 6. It's from 7, 8, 9. It's not a 6. I mean, I should just pencil mark this row now. So the rest of this are 5, 7, 8, 9. No 5s inside equality cage. High digit, another high digit. Again, not a 6. So there has to be an 8 between these two cells. No 3 is a 3. Up here, there's a 4. No 4s, no 4 is a 4. No 1, the 1 is up here, not that it matters. No 2, the 2 is up here. And then no 5, the 5 is up here. So this is a 1, 2, 5, no 5 inside the equality cage. This is 7, 8, 9, but it can't be an 8. Make sure these black Kropke dots join. 7, 8, 9 triple, that's a 6. That means this is a 3, 8 pair. This is now a 9. These are not 9s. This is 4, 6, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, the 9 is a must in the row. So no 9. 5, 7, 8. Okay. Oh, of course, the 4 had given me a 3 and a 7. I couldn't have reached the 1. The 3 has given me a 1 up here. This is not a 1 anymore. The 3 has given me a 6 here, a 3 there. Right, to make this equality cage work, this has to be an 8, doesn't it? Think this through. So the 7 and 9 have to be offset by a 2. The 3 has to be offset by an 8. Well, let me just think about it differently. If I make this 1, 3, these are all both odd, and I can't make both of them even. So this has to be a 2. Now I have an even and an odd. I have to have an even and an odd. That's the odd, that's the even. But both 7 and 9 work right now. This becomes the 5, this becomes the 1. It's great to be back in familiar territory all of a sudden. I feel like I actually know what I'm doing right now. I can complete this column. Well, the 2 has to be up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8 can't be there. That's 8, that's 9. These are 1, 5, 6. Nothing seems to break it. Okay. These two cells have to add up to 10, and it's not 1, 9, it's not 2, 8, it's not 4, 6, it is 3, 7. Both of which connect via white Kropke dot, of course. And then these are 5, 6, 9. Okay. What more can I do? I mean, I think because there's an 8 in here, I feel like the equality cage now needs to have a 1. I think so. Actually don't know. I'm gonna leave it for a second. Let's move on. Let's just see if we can identify the missing regions. So remember, one of these has to be in a region to sort out this equality cage. neither of these have to be in a region. I mean, the 5 is not inside the equality cage. So this is not the 5, this is 1 or 6. Am I going to pencil mark all of these? Half tempted, I admit. How are we doing for time? 40 minutes. I mean, definitely, I used to break it around here. I don't know why this time it worked. I'll accept it. So let's think about the equality cage. I have an 8, and I'm saying it needs to have a 1. Right, let's talk about equality cages. So they are 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 7, 9. Essentially odd and low, low and even, high and even, high and odd. Now, I have to have 2 lows, 2 highs, 2 evens, 2 odds. So I have 1 from the 8 column. And then I will have, because I don't have a 6, 1 from the 7, 9. So I've got 1, 6, 8, 1, 8 and 1, 7, 9. And therefore I will need to have 1 of 1, 3 and 1 of 2, 4. But I don't have the 3, so it has to have a 1. So this intuition is correct. So this is 1, 2, 4, 7, 9. This is not a 1. And then the missing digit in here is one of the 2 4s, one of the 7 9s, but it's not a 4. So no 2's in here. It's a 2 and 5 with a 7 or 9. That makes this not a 2. That makes this a 2. And in fact, the 9's are not here. This is a 1 4 7 triple. This is 2 5 9. That is not a 2. Hang on. I made a mistake there. Excuse me. There is no 9 here. That is true. So it is 1 4 7. Therefore, this is 9. Therefore, this would be the 8. The fact that they repeat doesn't matter in non-regions. And then this is 2 5 8. Excuse me. Not 2, not 8. Still not a 2, is a 2. So this is all correct. No 1's in here, is a 1 there. 5 6 1 4 7 2 3. We should be able to place whatever this digit is. I believe it can only be an 8, meaning this is 7 or 9. This is not 6. This is 6. This is another 7 or 9. Excellent. Have we got a resolution here? No. Five, 6, 9 triple. That's a 7. That's a 9. This cannot be a 9 anymore because we've got a 5, 6, 9 triple. The 9 has to be here. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 nearly completed regions. We're going to have to start thinking about where the remaining 2 are. And I've ignored these red warnings far enough. Right, so can this 2 not be in a region? I think that's the first question. I think the answer to that is no. If it's not in a region, it will be 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't be a 5 inside the equality cage. So if it's 2, that makes this a low digit. And because this is not a region, I can't squeeze a region around it. That would end up being low. This would be low. This would be low. All of these would be low. There's no way that's going to work. So this is definitely a region. and I don't actually know if it's a different one from this one or not. I'm going to color it blue/purple until I figure that out. Now, because it needs to go 3 out, this is part of a region. I am absolutely certain these two cannot be part of a region. That's the problem we always have. If they're part of a region, if purple and blue are different, I would have to go to the right, I will include A6, and I will break the puzzle. So this has to go to the left, and this is now part of a region, and this is not purple. And I can remove these pencil marks. And therefore, because this is 3, here is another 7, 9, because this is a 2. This is not a region, and in fact, none of these can be anymore. They're all out of reach. That becomes a 2 going to a 1 or 3. It kind of doesn't matter which one it is. And then the question is whether it's region that way or region that way. The last region, for it to fit, has to be somewhere in here, because that's the only place that's got 3 contiguous kind of digits. Now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, this section is always part of a region. And it's purple, and it can't be 6, it's got to be 3, meaning this is the 6, that's the limit. This cannot be part of a region, otherwise it's broken, and therefore this is all purple, and that's all of our regions. Hang on, don't know what's happening here, whether this is blue or this is blue. We'll come back to that. But this is not part of a region. These are not part of regions. This black crop key dot to work will be a 1-2 pair. Don't know. How do I resolve that last bit? So let's think about, I mean, we've got so many of these. So the blue, so the last blue, let's just think about this. 1, 3, 8 is what I'm thinking. That essentially, aside from 1, 3, and 8, I have, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is not 1 or 3, this is 8. Therefore, this is 3, this is 8. And then up here, in one of these two cells, is a 1. Okay? This is increasingly looking like it'll be low digits. I mean, I could still fit 6 and 7 in here, make this a 9. But it is increasingly tough. Can I do anything with any of these? Seemingly not. This is definitely not a region. Not that it matters. Not a 6. Again, not that it matters right now. Not a 9. It's got to be the equality cages. I've got to think about them a bit more. I mean, this cell is not 3, 6, or 8. It makes me think. I mean, the thing is, it could be 1. And then that could be 7 or 9. So I don't actually know. Right, let's try and explore. One option is this is the region. No, let's reverse it. This is not a region. Yeah, okay. Here's why. If this is not a region, it'll be 1. But I can't repeat digits. This will be 6. And then I'll end up with 2 different polarities with a white crop dot that's enforcing the same polarity. They can't cross the 5. And that breaks. So this is part of the region. And this isn't part of the region. And that's all of our regions done. And therefore this is 7 or 9. And therefore this is 1 or 6. Which is fairly ambiguous, unfortunately. Now, I did say I could make this 6, 7, make this a 1, make this another low digit. That's actually fine. So, for all the help that was. No 5, no 5 is a 5. Just Sudoku, let's remember that. No 3s, no 3s. There's a very high chance the 3 is inside the equality cage, but that's not good enough. No 5s means this is 6, this is 9, this is 5, that's 6, that's 5. Now that may help us. I may want to just pencil mark this row with the remaining digits of 2, 4, and 7 seemingly. And I can't remove literally any of them. Okay. I mean, something's going to resolve this setup here. If I can figure it out. No 9s. There's a 9 in here. Just the 9s. And therefore this is a 4, 6, and a 9. No 4. Is that helping me? Surely it's helping. No 5s, no. Again, no 9s. So 9 is in one of 2 cells. So this has to be 7, this has to be 9. That 7 bounces back and says 9. This is now the 1. Remaining digits, I mean, 5 has given me an 8. And in the column is 4, 7, and 6. So this is 4, 6, 7. 6, 7 as a pair works, doesn't it? Agree. 6, 7, 4, and 1 definitely works. 4 going to a 3 works as well. 4, 3, 6, 7. Yeah, I mean, both seem to work. So if this is 3, 4, this is a 3, 4, 6, 7 equality cage. I just don't know which way it is just yet. So it's either 3, 4 with a 6, 7 in here, or this is 6, 7 with 4 and 1. But that is not a 7. That is a 7. And therefore that is a 9. There's a 7 definitely in here. And then the 1 or 6 is there. So there's definitely also 4 in here. Therefore this is definitely a 2. And this is a 4-7 pair. I really don't want to make a mistake at this point. This is the furthest I've got yet. And therefore, to complete this, this has to be 3, 4, 6, 7, doesn't it? Got all the remaining digits. So this is 3, 4, 6, 7. I can probably reduce some of the options in here. If this is 4 and 3, this will be 6 and 7. And this would be 6. If this is a 6-7 pair, that's 1. That would have to be 4. This would have to be 3. So that's a bit cleaner. That gives me a 4-7 pair in the column, and therefore this has to be 6. This has to be 7. That is 3. 6, 7 forces this to be 1 and 4. And therefore 7, 1, 4, not 8. 2, 5 pair. This is now 2, 5, 7 according to the column. Four gives me 7 and 4, not 7. 2, 5 pair is 7 and 5, and 2 and 5 and 2, and 8 and 7 and 3 and 2. 1 is here, 2, 3, 4, 5 is there, 6 is here, 8 is there, and this is 1 for the finish. Holy moly. gUBBLOR, this was, I think, undoubtedly your hardest puzzle yet. Like, by a country mile, this was your hardest puzzle by a long way. So that makes it, again, another hour, 4 total. I'm going to spare you of actually seeing the previous 3 hours. But I'm so glad I managed to solve it. Hope you guys did better than I did, and that you actually enjoyed the puzzle and maybe the video as well. It's definitely there as a reference if you do get stuck. And I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.